Intel Classic. StarCraft universe, welcome to the Korea Ultimate Tournament. Get ready.
It takes you to open up your eyes to see the light. It's all around you. It takes you to open up your eyes to see the light. It's all around.
Hello and welcome to the TG Abertech Intel Classic. This is Nick Tasteless Plot, broadcasting to you from Seoul, Korea. We have a bunch of very exciting games coming up for you today. I cannot wait to get them started. Just to give you the match lineup for now, it's going to be Goojila, also known as Cal, against BackHo, a Protoss versus Protoss. BackHo, a pretty new player, but also pretty good. He's really made a big showing in this past year, and I think this may be the closest match of the day. Next up, we've got Ganzi versus Quanro. I hope I'm not butchering his name, but he's a very good Zerg player, Quanro. And Ganzi, of course, a very good Terran. He did eliminate Much not long ago in the tournament. And finally, we're going to have, up next, we're going to have Stork versus Zergbong. Stork probably going to be the favorite in that. This will be a Protoss versus Zerg, but, you know, Zergbong is certainly not a bad player. I just don't know if he's going to be as good as somebody like Stork. Now, Berserker versus Stats is going to be the final game, a Terran versus Protoss. Berserker, of course, very good. If you watch the GSI, you certainly would remember him. He's also known as Iris, a very good player. Now, Stats, he's pretty new, but I certainly think he has the potential to possibly take on Berserker. Berserker's entering somewhat of a, I wouldn't say a slump, but he's certainly not doing that well just lately. So this first game, we're going to have Cal versus BackHo. Cal, also known as Goojila. I think it should make for a very interesting match. The map lineup is going to be Coliseum first, second Andrea, and if we go to the third game, Othello. Thank you again to our sponsors, especially Intel. Thank you so much for making this event possible, and thank you, whoever's at home watching this right now. Again, here we're getting a few shots of the players so you can match the gamer ID with the Korean name and also the Korean face, since nothing but Koreans in this tournament. Oh, and by the way, speaking of tournaments and stuff, I wanted to congratulate JF from the TSL. Those were some very entertaining games against Draco. Definitely check them out. If you want to see how the foreigner scene is doing. Also a very skilled scene. Not quite as good as the Koreans, but then again, the Koreans are light years ahead of everybody as far as esports goes, and not just in presentation, but in skill as well. So, but you know, no matter what, you're going to see some good games, whichever end you're checking out. Now, Protoss versus Protoss on Coliseum, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. We've already seen a lot of interesting games on this map previously, especially in the Protoss versus Protoss matchup. It is a map where proxy gating is a possibility. You can build in the center. At the same time, you also have an expansion that is basically in your base. It's very easy to take, so we do see a lot of fast expanding. The small entrance also makes it possible to well be contained early on, but also defend from a rush. So there's a lot of different ways to play this map. It doesn't seem like we know the right way to do it just yet, since all the pro gamers have been opening up pretty differently. We'll find out how Goojila and BackHo decide that they're going to play this out. Now, Goojila, who you probably know him better as Cal, I believe is ranked 6th in Kespa. So that certainly should show you that he is a very good Protoss player. He is, I believe, the third highest ranked Protoss player in Kespa, and he is a very skilled player at that. He has a lot of potential. A lot of people think he will continue to rise. BackHo, surprisingly, also a very, very strong player. He was actually seeded in the tournament. I believe he was in Group D of the OSL, and he actually managed to eliminate Bisu. So here we're getting a shot at the two players. There's Goojila, which is also known as Cal, but he basically changed his ID. And there's BackHo. Not the most catchy name. And here we can see who they beat previously. And I actually casted Cal's game earlier on in the event against, I believe it was Reach. I've casted so many games so far, but I gotta say, they were very entertaining games. Definitely check them out. And this is going to be very exciting. I just cannot wait to get this thing going. I see that both players have joined the game now and are saying hello. We are getting confirmation here pretty soon that the game is going to start. Now, as far as playing styles go, I think Goojila is very solid overall. He's certainly... he does not have any major weakness. Now, BackHo, I'm a little bit less familiar with his playing style, but everybody says he's pretty solid. I was talking to the other commentators about the gamers, and we all did come to the same conclusion that this should be the closest game of the day, the one that might be the hardest to figure out who's going to win. Although, if I had to put my money on somebody, I would probably say Cal, who's now changed his name to Goojila. Sorry, I do want to go back and forth between the names because I want to make sure that people actually know what I'm talking about. The game has begun. We have Cal over here at the top left. The player who changed his name to Goojila. I thought that might have something to do with Godzilla, but it turns out I think it's actually a Korean word. At the top right, we have BackHo. Both players hugging the top of the map. And doesn't look like we're going to see a proxy just yet. They haven't sent a probe out. We have seen proxying a lot on this map, though. In fact, on some of the other maps as well, we have the option for proxying. For a while, they weren't able to do that on some of the maps that they had coming out, with the exception of Python, or if it was a one-on-one map. So indeed, yeah, no one is going to go for the all-in rush here. So, matching up over here with the sides of the map that they're on, we can see that there's Cal on the left, that's his screen at the bottom, more towards the middle, and over here on the right, that's BackHo. A newer gamer, but certainly a skilled one. Looks like they're both going to scout after Gateway. That's the most common time to scout in Protoss versus Protoss. You can scout after Pylon, but you're going to get your Gateway out just a little bit later. And that can hurt you, but at the same time, you can also get a man or Pylon in there earlier if you're going to do that, if you do scout on 9. And when I talk about these numbers, I am talking about the food count. That's how these pro gamers and most StarCraft players map out their builds. It's based off of what they see their food or their supply at, their pop, whatever you want to call it. And this is, again, the closest match of the day. I am very excited to see how it's going to turn out. I could go either way. So get ready. Not too much else we could talk about now. They did both go for the Pylon, the second Pylon, before the assimilator. And that is because they wanted to squeeze an extra probe out, not teching right away. Here we can see that BackHo's probe harassing one of the probes in the back, but he's going to have to move out now. The Zealot's on the move. It looks like our blue player, Cal, is already playing defensively. He's not rushing with the Zealot, but is instead chasing the probe around. And on the other hand, it looks like BackHo is going to be playing pretty aggressively. So the agenda for this Zealot is going to be to pick off the probes in the mineral patches. Because it's a mirror matchup, losing a few workers early on can really hurt you. We could see he tried to bait the Zealot up there, and here he comes now. He's closing in. He has to micro well. If he loses the Zealot and doesn't do enough damage, it would really hurt him. Nice control so far by Cal. He's attacking another probe, but no, microed back into the mineral patch, and oh my god! Total failure. Wow. Okay, so he's down in one Zealot, did not take out a single probe. And BackHo is doing not as well as he would like to. He is keeping the probe alive in the base. Both players now getting Dragoon range. We're going to see if they're going to get the Robo, the second gateway, or the Citadel. Although you normally don't get the Citadel if the scouting probe is still in your base. Here we see him trying to catch up to that probe. It's actually pretty hard to catch up to. Get that probe! No, it sneaks back behind the minerals. He could maybe... I don't know, he's just going to chill back there. And it's finally taken out. No indication of what tech we're going to see just yet. Standard openings for both players. Although we do have Cal a little bit ahead. Now, RoboBay first. That might be because he lost his scouting probe earlier. And because he could not kill a probe, he will make up for that and kill a sunken colony. Here's the Nexus going down now. And it looks like, although he did lose a Zealot, he has more intelligence right now on what his opponent's doing. He feels he can squeeze out the Nexus before any type of offensive would come in that could take him on. Now, it does look like, though, our blue player, Cal, well, he has the potential to do a Dragoon Reaver push. The early RoboBay, he may just be getting that because he's afraid of Dark Templars getting the Observer out. But if he does get a Reaver, it would probably prove to be pretty effective. If he does not go for the Reaver, which we will find out after the Observer comes out, due to the pattern the Protoss are supposed to Tekken, if he does not do that, he may be more behind because the purple player, BackHo, is going to get that Nexus out so quickly. It looks as though he's going to send a scouting probe out. He wonders if there's some Dragoons, maybe. On the normal path, the probe would go, so it looks like he's going to sneak around this way. And here he is now transferring probes. The Nexus is up. We have not seen Cal be offensive yet. We probably will not unless he decides to get the Reaver. Although it looks like on the mini-map, well, here's the Observer. But on the mini-map, it looks like he's probably going to be getting a Nexus. Oh, no, he will be going for the Reaver. And it looks like we're going to see the Citadel out now. So he may be going for DTs, he may be going for High Templars, possibly. Neither would be necessarily bad. It's going to depend on how Cal techs. Zealots with legs are also good, but not against Reavers. Second gas coming up, and that makes sense. That means he's probably going to be going for the Templar attack because he needs all that Vespian gas. Another gateway. Will Cal go for the offensive, though? We don't know yet. A Reaver push, if timed out well, could work pretty well against a Templar tech, which indeed is what BackHo is going for. Looks like he's going to take out this Observer. The Reaver is out, although I don't think we have a shuttle. Perhaps he got the Reaver for defensive purposes. There are some instances where you can use Reavers without the shuttle, sometimes to defend a fast expansion, other times to push across the map with a handful of Reavers and Dragoons if you decide that the shuttle might not be necessary. he is going to get the shuttle, so he will see an offensive here. Now he has two options with this. He could go directly for the front, and it's been spotted by the observer. Now he could go for the offensive at the front door with the Reaver, or he could bait BackHo's army into staying at the entrance and then drop the expansion with the Reaver. Again, two very good players. How are they going to play this out? And it looks like he's going to go for the front. Here he comes now. And it looks like, well, it's hard to say who's going to win. It depends on how much damage the Reaver does. Reaver getting in vulnerable position right now, but not taking too many hits. Here's the DT now. Is there an observer with his army? No, there is not. And it looks like Cal has been deflected. The shuttle has been taken out. The Reaver can now, well, it's very vulnerable to the Dark Templar. Everything is falling apart for Cal. I think he should have gone with that, gone in there a little bit quicker if he wanted that push to work, because the Nexus was up so early. It just, in the long run, really benefited BackHo, who at this point in time is looking as good as his name is silly. The Forge is now up. He's probably going to be getting +1 attack very soon. Cal's still strong as far as the defensiveness goes. Now we have another shuttle out. Is he going to go for a possible drop? Maybe going to get another Reaver and try to harass the expansion? It's not clear right now. Both players picking off each other's Reaver. That one looked like it was more of an accident. Cal just floated it into an area where the observer was. Because we're seeing cannons get up here, I think we may see a contain pretty soon. Getting contained on a map like this, very, very difficult to recover. Now we do have High Templars out. And again, we already have another expansion over here for our purple player, BackHo. Cal is honestly, especially for a mirror matchup, in an awful, awful condition right now. I just do not know exactly what his plans are at this moment. His tech tree is behind because he did go for the Reaver. You get the Citadel out later, you get the Templar Archives out later. He may try to go for some Storm Drops. That would probably be the best way to recover. Storm Dropping central to winning Protoss versus Protoss, especially in the late game. You know, Protoss don't have Scourge. They don't have, you know, they don't have something simple even like a Wraith to chase down the shuttle. So it's really difficult to stop the Storm Drops. Now Cal is moving out now, and so is BackHo. And here they come now. The storms are going down. And the Reaver is out, dropped into the middle of the battle. And I have to say, I am surprised to see that Cal is now pushing back. Our purple player, I think, although he had expanded, it was not the time to be offensive. The Reavers are out. They're going to take out these Zealots. BackHo may, in fact, lose this game. Both Reavers taken out. It looks like this attack may be deflected. Is there an observer with that army? I don't see an observer with Cal's army. There's a DT out. There's the observer. He needs to get an observer over there and pick off the enemy observer. But it looks like there are just too many units coming out right now of BackHo's base. Cal's going to have to reinforce that. Nice micro here. Both players actually controlling very well. BackHo has to hold out this attack, and then I think the victory may be sealed, especially if he can pull off a counterattack. Looks like Cal has decided he needs to back off. And as we can see, yeah, BackHo getting cannons up now in his base. He says, all right, all I got to do is hold this attack off. And it looks like now Cal going to come in from 2 angles over here. Or just take out that pylon. A little bit anticlimactic. But still an exciting game. The Nexus is almost done in Cal's expansion. And we do see that Cal is trying to go for the contain. A little bit of a role reversal here from what I had initially expected. The Reaver dealing a lot of damage. One player has the Reaver, the other has the Storms. And it looks like clearly Purple is going to come out on top. The Dark Templar really assisting in the battle despite the fact that there is an overwhelming amount of purple units. And the new Templar fashion is Archons. And I think that's actually a smart decision because we have our player BackHo going for so many Zealots. The Archons can certainly melt the Zealots with ease. However, there are a lot of Dragoons which deal heavy damage to Archons. Now it looks as though it is Cal's turn to play defensively. Remember Cal, the player who's recently changed his name to Goojila, but you probably know him better as Cal. Now I have to say that BackHo does have an overwhelming amount of units that are coming up now to this expansion. He's got it to use the Reavers and the Archons well. The Archons taking a lot of damage from the Dragoons, but it looks like they're taking out the bulk of the Zealots, but no, there are too many Dragoons. And he's going to have to reinforce this pretty quickly. Is he going to be able to get the units? The cannon about to be taken out. Meanwhile, more Zealots on the way. Probes being transferred to another expansion. Cal has been behind for a while now. Although BackHo started out behind when he lost that Zealot. Storming the Reavers, now taking more and more damage. This, I believe, will be GG. Give it, maybe he might type it in now, or he may play it out for a little bit longer, but there is certainly no way that he can recover from this right now. He is losing this expansion. And he is in position to be contained. Meanwhile, his opponent will have twice the amount of resources coming in. I am glancing over into Cal's booth, and I have to say he does not look calm right now. You can see he is pretty, well, he's trying to pull himself together and get through this, but I just don't know. It looks like, yep, there it is. Good game. Well played. BackHo wins. A very impressive game. There's your winner for the first part of the series. It's not over yet, though. It's going to be a best of 3. You know, it's funny. BackHo started out a little bit behind when he lost that Zealot. I thought it was going to hurt him a little bit more than it actually did. And I think the big blunder there by Cal was playing a little bit too defensively. BackHo just expanded right after he lost the Zealot. Well, not right after, but, you know, after he got a few Dragoons out. And on the other hand, Cal got 2 gateways, got observers, didn't really go for a fast push with the Reaver. Instead, got a Nexus. I think he assumed that his opponent was not going to take, go in that direction because he was already behind in 1 Zealot. But in fact, BackHo went there. And, yeah, you know, it's simple as that. He got behind at the start. Then the push timing was pretty poor, in my opinion. He also did not pull out when he should have. He's, you know, did not have an observer, at least it seemed like, available. There was a DT harassing his army, but he stayed there with the Dragoons and the Reavers. Well, the Reaver. And that's when things really started to fall apart. Then he lost the shuttle. And it's difficult to recover from that, especially when your opponent doesn't tech to the Reavers, gets the Citadel and the Templar Archives out. Then his tech tree is complete. He's got Storms on his side and the Zealots with the legs, and he's got the mobility and the bulk to deal the damage. Our next map is going to be Andromeda, and I think this is going to be another interesting game. Can Cal recover? He's not out of this yet, but he's certainly taken a serious blow, down one game. And I may be talking for a little bit longer. I see that BackHo has, we have let him take a bathroom break because he has just scrambled past me. And so I'll be talking here for a little bit longer. Now, Andromeda is an interesting map, too. You do have that mineral natural in your main. So we sometimes see fast expanding there, or we see the more gutsy move, which is usually to go for the expansion on low ground, the one that has more minerals and a Vespian gas geyser, but is not quite as easy to defend. So a lot of the game will be centered around what type of decision making goes on in that aspect. On the other hand, though, we could see something totally different. This is a proxy-friendly map, too, with the Panda Bear guy in the middle of the map, of course. GOMTV's favorite neutral unit. So the moment that BackHo returns and manages to get back into his booth, we will start this game. BackHo, also a member of the West Clan White. And I believe he is entering the booth now. I think they might be bringing him through the back. Maybe Nidus can him over there. Put him in a speed shuttle, whatever it takes. Right now they should probably just recall him because I'm running out of stuff to talk about. Although we do have confirmation right now that Cal is ready. He did rewatch that replay real fast. And let's get ready. This is going. Very soon here. Stay tuned. Here's a shot of Cal at the top right. He's already down one game. He's not in the best condition ever. And of course, that's BackHo. I love StarCraft. All right, I'm not sure how Cal is going to respond now that he's down one game. Many times when professional gamers are ahead in one game, they are more likely to go for a super aggressive strategy the next time around. Whereas if they're down in one game, they're more likely to try to play a very standard and try to win in the long run. And that's not always true. But sometimes you'll see that pattern. For instance, if they're ahead one game, you may see a proxy gate. Simply because they're willing to take the risk and they could win really fast that way. Doesn't look like we're going to see that now, though. Will they scout after Gateway? No. It looks like Cal is going to stay in his base. He's going to go for a very economic build order. One of those build orders that pretty much is safe and kind of works against anything and everything. Okay, no, he's going to scout now. Meanwhile, BackHo's already scouting and will scout his opponent right away. We have a very shy crowd here tonight. Note the positioning of that pylon. It does block against Manor Pylon. And it looks as though Cal going for a pretty standard opening right now. He'll get probably 1 to 2 Zealots out as well to block the ramp, and or possibly to rush. He has not put probes into the assimilator yet. And now he has, but those probes are going in there a little bit late. So right now, very standard build orders. We do see a little bit of probe harassment here. We do see a Zealot now coming up the ramp. Now, once again, he has to get the probes. And Cal has proven to us that he has very good Zealot and probe micro. Here he goes, going for the ones at the gas. 1 is down. Can he get 2? And he looks like he will. And possibly 3. No, microed away. And ooh, almost. He's going to try to block the probe. Well done. It may seem insignificant that he lost a probe or 2 at the start, but this is certainly not the case. Losing a probe, 1 or 2 in a mirror matchup like this can really hurt you, especially early on. Dragoon range is on the way, and well, clearly BackHo's up to something with that probe. Oh no, actually he did this in the previous game. It's not common for Protoss players to send out a second probe to scout after they lost the initial probe. So the response to that many times is after they hold off the first Zealot and probe, they send their Dragoons in the direction towards their base so they can catch that second probe while it's on the way. And that's why BackHo goes around like this. But it looks like Cal decided to sit back and stay defensive in case such a something like that were to happen. Now he's not going to let his opponent in there. And look at this. Very interesting. Cal going for 3 gateway. We do not see a forge. We do not see a citadel, which means, excuse me, we do not see a forge, and we do not see a robotics facility. So that means that he is essentially taking a major risk here, trusting that he can win early on with a lot of Dragoons with range. He will forfeit the game if it's DTs. Basically going for the rock, paper, scissors build approach. I'll lose, if it's rock, I'll win if it's paper. And if it's scissors, then it will in fact be drawn out, and they'll have to go to another level, another step. Now, as we can see, BackHo playing defensively, actually. And he's going for observers. He does not have the robotic support bay for the Reavers. And here he comes now. He's going to try to break the ramp. It does look as though BackHo is not going to be able to hold off this attack, and Cal's risk may prove to be effective. Here come the probes going to block at the ramp. He has to use those probes to block the ramp, excuse me. He has to hold this position. He can't let him up on the high ground. He's going to try to bait him up there again. But Cal is going to wait for a few more Dragoons. The clock is ticking. Cal has to get up there. And here come the probes again, going for the probe drill. Oh, only 2 Dragoons remain. 1 squeezed up there. And looks like it will be taken out. These 2 Dragoons are a couple of badasses. They have held off countless Dragoons. Meanwhile, Cal continuing to flood the entrance with Dragoons. Meanwhile, probes being used over here. Does not appear as though he can use that expansion right now. The probe drill once again, but Cal backs off. going to get the Robo support bay. Meanwhile, Cal may have actually stopped the rush. He is now going for the contain, taking control of the low ground. Meanwhile, Cal is now expanding to the more desirable Expo and picking a fight with a neutral building. But more than likely, he's doing that so that he will not lose control of that expansion by having Dragoons put on the high ground. So the Robo Bay is just now coming out. He knows that a counter DT rush could prove to be very effective. It's going to be up to whether or not BackHo can break this contain at the bottom of his ramp. The contain doesn't look very strong, though. So, in a few minutes, we will see the yellow Protoss try to break this. BackHo possibly has an advantage right now, and he's going to have to do that with this Reaver. And Cal is going to try to bait the Reaver onto the low ground. And it's kind of funny how sometimes Scarabs just zigzag to the location. All right, now we do have our yellow player BackHo in control of the low ground, or at least his low ground, which means if we see a shuttle coming out here, he could push. Now, at the same time, Cal also getting a Reaver. He knows the only way to counter the Reaver push is with a Reaver of his own. And it looks like BackHo is on the move. We're going to find out if BackHo can control his shuttle and Reaver better than Cal. And it does appear as though nice play here by Cal. He's going to put a few Dragoons on the high ground of his cliff, but he needs to get ready. He will have control of this valley, so to speak. Now here comes the Reaver. Can the Reaver deal the damage? Going for the shuttle. He backs off. The shuttle's been taken out. No! Now probes are coming into the fray. It's unclear, though, if Cal's going to be able to hold this off. There is just an innumerable amount of Dragoons. Looks like 4 versus about 8. Yes, he is going to get in there and take out this expansion. The Reaver is out, but oh so late. He's going to send a few more probes out here, and he's going to try to move in here. But will he manage to keep the Nexus? And the shuttle taking a lot of damage. The Reaver has been destroyed. It's been totally owned, and it looks like GG. Cal loses. The player who is ranked 6th in Kespa has been taken out by BackHo. It was indeed a close series. I am a little shocked, though, that BackHo dominated so easily. Really knowing, oh wow, I just gotta say I'm impressed. You can see Cal somewhat destroyed right now that he lost. Probably did not expect that to happen. Will finish at the 32nd spot. Meanwhile, BackHo, Ballerho, totally impressing us here. We got more games coming up. Stay tuned.